and welcome to our special show, Health and Wellness Myths and Facts. Well, it is essential, your health and your wellness, to living a fulfilling life. As the body, however, ages, it becomes prone to several medical conditions. Now, aging cannot be prevented, but we can learn to deal with the issues that arise in order to keep our loved ones in good health. People are living longer all around the world. Most people nowadays can expect to live into their 60s and even beyond. Every country in the world is seeing a population growth as well as an increase in the number of elderly people. Now, aging leads to a gradual decrease in your physical and mental capacity and a growing risk of diseases. Now, the prevalence of the most chronic diseases and conditions such as diabetes and heart ailments increases with age. Your susceptibility to these illnesses also increases with age. Every day, there are millions of people with chronic conditions who struggle to manage their symptoms on a day-to-day basis. People sometimes lack proper knowledge, but proper knowledge about chronic conditions such as diabetes can help elderly people to manage these conditions better. There are many queries regarding lifestyle, regarding medications, and especially with those elderly people. We have an expert panel today to address all of your doubts. Joining us on the broadcast, Dr. Jayaprakash Appajigol. He is MD General Medicine, Associate Professor, JN Medical College. He's joining us from Bangalore. Thanks very much, Doctor, for being with us. I want to begin by asking you about, diabetes. Now, this is, of course, a disease that is full of several complications and it affects many parts of the body. Which diabetes complications are common in older people and what is the best way to prevent it?
Thank you. Diabetes is known to produce complications. That's why we are worried about diabetes. Okay. We categorize these complications into two categories. One is acute complications, which occur quickly, and one more group of complications are there. They occur gradually because over the decades of exposure to high blood glucose levels, brain, heart, kidney, nervous system, they suffer. That we call chronic complications. In elderly, very high glucose levels can cause sudden onset of seizure or a fit, thereby making him disabled, and it may be fatal sometimes. Likewise, elderly diabetics also are not prone to get heart attacks, paralysis, which are life-threatening. We need to prevent these things, especially in an elderly population.
Dr. Arun Chopra, Director Cardiology, Fortis Escorts Hospital, Amritsar, is also joining us. Thanks very much, Dr. Chopra, for being with us. My question to you is, with age, there are increased changes in the cardiovascular system which result in alterations in the cardiovascular physiology. What are the changes that are associated with aging? How would you define that?
So the major changes that take place with aging are the fact that one is the blood pressure. It continues to rise with age, so that by the time one is 80 years of age, more than 75% of individuals have high blood pressure and need treatment. At the same time, blood sugar also tends to rise with age because there is increasing insulin resistance as one ages because of loss of muscle mass. Thirdly, people tend to become less active and tend to eat somewhat more, and therefore cholesterol levels also often rise with age. In addition, the blood vessels tend to get stiff, the heart also tends to get stiffer, and all of this leads to a tendency for shortness of breath, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, etc. So all these need to be kept in mind and all these need to be tackled as and when they arise. So elderly individuals should be in touch with a doctor.
Right. So as you grow older, it's important to regularly be in touch with your doctor. I think that's very important advice as well. But if I could just quickly, Dr. Chopra, ask you an allied question. Heart health typically deteriorates with age, but we still see people, aged people who are perfectly healthy without any sort of cardiac ailments. What's the reason for this?
So the problem is that with age, as I told you, high blood pressure, diabetes, high blood cholesterol tends to rise. Body mass index or obesity, I mean, also tends to increase because lean mass, the healthy mass that is bone and muscle tends to decrease. So all of these lead to an increased risk for heart disease. Furthermore, our blood vessels, not just in the rest of the body but also in the heart and brain, tend to become stiffer with age. And as they become stiffer, they start developing cholesterol deposits, and the presence of high BP, high cholesterol, diabetes, etc., predisposes to such deposits. And when there is some sudden stress, some change somehow, especially these days in cold weather, exposure to cold, stress, etc., any of this can lead to a sudden event wherein a clot forms on top of these deposits in the blood vessels of heart, brain, etc., and that is what leads to heart attacks or strokes.
All right, very interesting. If I could at the moment bring back Dr. Jayaprakash into the conversation, I believe he can hear us now. Many old people with diabetes are on insulin. What are the chances of hypoglycemic episodes with these patients, and what can they do to prevent it?
Yeah, most of the elderly people end up with having insulin because diabetes is a disease where it progresses, and earlier oral medications they will stop and they will depend on insulin. So once person is on insulin, there are chances that he may go into hypoglycemic attacks. We need to know why person is going into hypoglycemic attacks. Most common cause in them is excessive intake of insulin, excess doses. Somebody takes the insulin dose and again he forgets and takes once more because of the cognitive impairment. And he may skip meals. By skipping meals, he is prone for hypoglycemic attacks. And important thing is, as the age advances, body mechanism to regulate sugars is also altered. So many times they end up with hypoglycemic attacks. And important thing, how to prevent this is also equally important. So we need to determine why is skipping the meals. We need to address why is taking repeated insulins. And also we need to train him how to anticipate a hypoglycemic attack and how to minimize it. Now in the market, many of the newer devices are there, like continuous glucose monitoring device, just treated like a pen button, which can monitor your sugars over a period of time and give a reading. By showing those readings to your regular doctor, he can adjust your insulin levels, insulin doses, and we may compromise on glycemic control also to control these hypoglycemic attacks, because hypoglycemia are very bad and they can be very fatal sometimes.
Right. Also, people who have diabetes often, have poor sleeping habits, including difficulty in falling off to sleep or staying asleep for long periods of time. It happens especially in older people. How essential is sleep?
Sleep is very essential because lack of sleep may lead and end up with some of the diseases like fatal myocardial infarctions, that is heart attack, and it can cause a stroke, or it increases the blood pressure levels, and itself it can increase sugar levels also. So National Institute of Aging has suggested a good amount of sleep of 7 to 9 hours is important in elderly people. So we need to see that these elderly people are having adequate sleep, and we need to address why they are not getting sleep also equally important. For example, somebody is having burning feet because of diabetes mellitus, may not sleep because of his that problem. And elderly people are prone for osteoarthritis of the knees, and because of the severe pain in the night, they may not sleep properly. We need to address and treat these underlying diseases so they can sleep properly. One more important thing is sleep apnea syndrome or obstructive sleep apnea syndrome seen in obese patients. Because of the obesity, they have intermittent apneic episodes and they get up in the night. Because of that, they won't have sufficient full sleep, which makes them prone for uncontrolled sugars and heart attacks and paralysis. What we can do for this? Treatment of neuropathy, regular exercise, treatment of osteoarthritis, either by medicines or exercise, yoga therapy, weight reduction for obesity can help them to mitigate these disturbances, and they can have a good sleep and lead a comfortable life.
All right, very important advice there, on the importance of sleep. This, of course, applies to people across all age groups. With that, we're going to slip into a very short break, but our panel of experts will be live with us on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Health and Wellness Myths and Facts. Dr. Chopra, if I can come back to you at the moment, we've seen that elderly people have a list of ailments and complications that are associated with chronic conditions. What advice can you give them to better manage these conditions, and what can they do to delay the progression of such complications?
See, the main conditions are, which I was talking about earlier. They are high blood pressure, diabetes, high blood cholesterol, heart disease, kidney disease, infections. So for all of these, there are two things which are important. One is a healthy lifestyle. The other is to be in touch with a good physician and be regular in their visits. So a healthy lifestyle again includes two things. They are a healthy dietary pattern, which means consuming healthy foods, healthy carbohydrates, healthy proteins, healthy fats, not taking too many fried foods, not taking too much refined foods, using foods which are natural. So these are healthier foods. In addition, some form of exercise. A walk is the bare minimum. If a person is strong and can do some amount of resistance exercise, that would be excellent. So these two would together constitute a healthy lifestyle along with the healthy sleep pattern, avoiding too much avoiding smoking and drinking too much alcohol. Alcohol should be in moderation only. But I would like to reinforce that any individual, especially elderly individual, if he or she has some medical problems, they must be in touch with a good physician and continue to visit them regularly, maybe once a quarter or once in 6 months, depending upon the advice of their physician and the stability of their condition.
Right, I think that's really important advice there, that it's important to stay in touch with your physician regularly. Dr. Jayaprakash, knowing your numbers is an important part of keeping your health in check. What should the target blood sugar levels be for the elderly who are diabetic?
Yeah, numbers are very important. Many of patients, they compare their numbers with somebody's number and they tell that their sugars are not good and are high, low, everything. So we need to keep give that option to the doctors, what number is good for which patient, because a very strict sugar control may not be good for some elderly people. So we measure these sugar levels by means of three parameters. One is fasting blood glucose, second one is postprandial blood glucose, and HbA1c. These are the three ways of monitoring of blood sugar levels. Somebody is having a good life expectancy. Elderly people, for example, I give an example of 65 to 70 years male, taking care of himself in everything, eating properly, exercising every day, 3 to 5 kilometers of walk. You don't have any comorbidities, no paralysis, no heart attack, no kidney disease. Such patients, we can target a very high or good sugar control. For example, HbA1c, what we measure to control blood sugar, can be around 7 or 7 to 7.5. So their life expectancy is more. We can strictly control blood sugar in them. But same thing cannot be true with somebody is having many comorbidities. For example, somebody is around 70 to 75 years age and already had a heart attack last year or had a paralysis on dialysis. By controlling sugar levels very strictly, we are making him more prone for developing hypoglycemic attacks, which can be fatal. For them, laser blood control is okay. We need not worry about HbA1c itself. Like American Diabetes Association in the recent guidelines tells, if somebody is having many comorbidities and life expectancy is less, we need not worry about HbA1c. Just control sugars only to see that patient doesn't get very high blood sugars or very low blood sugars. So numbers is important, but give it to your doctors, leave it on your doctors. What suits that patient tells it has to be told by your doctor.
Right. Also, how frequently should older people with comorbid conditions like diabetes and hypertension go for blood tests and other tests? So, what are some of these tests, Dr. Chopra?
It depends upon the profile of the patient. But typically, when a patient comes to us for a general checkup, we like to get once at least their biochemistry, their hemogram, their blood sugar, lipid profile, kidney functions, sometimes liver functions, an ECG, In case there is high blood pressure, diabetes, etc., we might consider an ultrasound. And there are some other specialized investigations which may be indicated for particular individuals. But what I would like to suggest is that people should not go for all sorts of health checks on their own. They should rather consult a good physician or go to a hospital, get their opinion from a physician, and then undergo investigations as per requirements. Because often we find lots of people bring long lists of investigations which are basically unnecessary. So we don't need very frequent investigations. But if a patient is having diabetes or high blood pressure or high cholesterol, heart disease, they need to get some investigation done maybe once in 6 months or 1 year. But my final word would again be that please consult your physician and go by their advice. That will be best for general health, for elderly as well as for all individuals.
Right, important advice there coming in. Dr. Jayaprakash, what is the ideal diet pattern for the elderly with comorbidities?
You know, India is a diverse country and we have different diets in each part of each district. You can tell the different diets. The area from where I'm coming from, northern Karnataka, the staple food is jolad roti and rice is very commonly utilized. And these are also carbohydrates. We cannot tell them not to eat the carbohydrate food. So each of the dietary plan has to be individualized. For example, we need to give a simple sugar should not be there, and there should be a complex carbohydrate diet. For example, the American Diabetes Association has adopted a dietary plan called as Dietary Approach to Stop Hypertension. Originally developed for hypertension, and it is extended for diabetic patients also, which contains a variety of vegetables from all subgroups. For example, green leafy vegetables, orange, legumes, starches, and also it contains fruits. They emphasize on allowing to eat more whole fruits rather than fruit juices. Likewise, whole grain intake and like poultry, intake of poultry in the form of proteins and yogurt, cheese, fat-free diets are also advised. One more important thing is reducing salt intake in such patients, because I told diabetic complications can be managed not only by sugar control and also blood pressure control. So salt intake, if it is less, it will decrease your blood pressure and has shown moderate benefit in diabetic patients. So low salt, low fat diet and rich in carbohydrates only which are complex carbohydrates, and good protein diet is important for a healthy lifestyle in a diabetic patient which are elderly.
Right. Dr. Chopra, final question to you in terms of cardiac procedures. Is there any kind of a guideline as to which procedures are safe and which cardiac procedures should be avoided by elderly patients?
There is actually no relation of age purely as a cutoff for allowing a patient to undergo a surgery. We regularly do angiographies, angioplasties, pacemakers, bypass surgeries in individuals who are elderly. That means individuals in their 70s, 80s. Pacemakers are even implanted in older patients, even in 90s. I have implanted pacemakers in individuals above 100 also. So there is no strict age cutoff. On the other hand, whenever a physician advises a procedure, we have various types of risk scores which assess the risk of a patient for undergoing a procedure. And in that risk score, other than common conditions which we were talking about earlier, like heart disease or diabetes, kidney disease, some blood tests, we also look at the age. So age is factored into the calculation of risk for a procedure. So whenever we advise a procedure, it is after taking all these factors into account, and therefore there is no strict age cutoff for any procedure.
All right, so important advice there coming in, no age bars to accessing any of these diagnostic tools. Thank you very much, doctors, for joining us.
Thank you.